Welcome, foolish mortals. There's no turning back now.
Welcome, everybody. How's everybody's Wednesday going so far? Hopefully it's going good now that you're listening to me. Welcome to the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. It's episode number 14. Like I said, hopefully you guys are having a great Wednesday, and hopefully it's been made a little bit better by this brand new episode. I am Kristen. I am your host. You know me. If it's a Disney life, then I'm a happy wife. Hence the title, Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast. So this is the podcast where we talk about all things Disney. Not just Disney movies, not just Disney parks, not just Disney products, not just Disney rumors. We talk about all things Disney here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about all things Disney. And like I said, one of the things we talk about is Disney movies. So that is going to be a focus for today's episode. So we have been kind of on a hiatus for the past couple of weeks with the holiday season and things so crazy the past couple of weeks. Haven't gotten an episode out to you guys, so I'm sorry about that. But we're back. So what better to talk about than one of the most exciting things to happen to Disney in the past, month or so, I guess we'll say. So the most exciting thing that's happened in the past, month or so here, well, not here, but like in the Disney culture, Disney universe, I guess we'll say, about 3 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, a brand new movie from Disney hit the theaters. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm assuming you know what movie I'm talking about. You know it. Frozen 2. Frozen 2 came out on November 22nd. And, of course, we went to go see it opening weekend. Couldn't wait. I didn't necessarily want to take M opening day, but we went opening weekend with a friend of hers. And we loved it. I'm going to just say it. We loved it. So today's episode is going to be my review of Frozen 2. And not only do you get to hear my review of Frozen 2, but you get to hear M's review of it too. So you get to hear what M thinks of it. Of course, it's not, a Disney review, a Disney movie review without M, She's got to have her 2 cents too. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about Frozen 2. So let's get my thoughts out of the way. I am going to start this off by saying that there are spoilers. Spoiler alert, okay? If you have not seen Frozen 2, I am going to be talking about what's in the movie. So if you haven't seen it, this is either your point of no return. If you keep listening, which I hope you do, then you're going to hear about what's in the movie. So you could say, hey, instead of thinking, well, this is, kind of sucky that, you're going to have all these spoilers in it. You could think, hey, at least I'm going to know, and at least I'm going to know if it's okay for my kids. So there you go. So let's talk about it. Frozen 2. So this has probably been one of the most anticipated sequels to come out from Disney Studios in the longest time. I think probably from Disney animated studios, Disney animated movies, this is probably the most anticipated sequel ever. And I think it's, putting Pixar aside, I think this might be the only Disney princess movie that has ever gotten a sequel released to movie theaters and not just right to DVD. Obviously, we know that in the Pixar world, if we decide to blend Pixar and Disney, which, obviously, but, Monsters, Inc. had a sequel released to theaters, and obviously Toy Story did. And obviously, Finding Nemo. So the first Disney princess sequel to be released to theaters is Frozen 2. So yay, that's a yay for the Disney princess world. But I think out of all of the Disney movies, this sequel was probably the most anticipated. And I know what you're thinking, everybody was waiting for Finding Dory, and everybody was waiting for all of this, I guess we'll call them sequel releases to the Toy Story movies. Toy Story 2, we met Jessie. Toy Story 3, Andy grows up. Toy Story 4, we meet Forky. Everybody was waiting for those. everybody was waiting for Finding Dory when we get to learn a bit more about Dory. But I don't know, at least in my mind, I think I was more excited for the release of Frozen 2 and getting to see more of what we love about Anna and Elsa. And I shouldn't say surprised. I wasn't surprised at how wonderful it was. I knew it was going to be wonderful. I was so happy at how much I loved this movie. So Emily and I went with one of her friends and her friend's mom. We went to go see it in theaters. We absolutely loved it. So we were in these big comfy chairs and it was so great. I just can't say enough. So I guess, that's my big thought about it, is that I loved this movie. Were there some good things? Obviously. Were there some bad things? Well, a little bit. So I will start off by saying that this movie is a lot deeper and a lot darker than Frozen. Frozen 2, really touches upon some things that the first Frozen does not. We see Elsa and we see the turmoil that she goes through in Frozen about having these ice powers. And then all of a sudden everybody knows. But then, there's this storm over Arendelle and they have to find a way to stop the storm. And you see all of this turmoil and everything with Elsa, and you see this adventure that Anna goes through, and you see that in the end, love is what can control Elsa's powers. And that's all great. And then in Frozen 2, you learn a little bit more. And it definitely digs deeper. And it definitely is a little bit more, I shouldn't say a little bit more. It's definitely darker than the first one. And that was something that I wasn't necessarily prepared for. And I know that if you've seen the trailer, you've seen Elsa, diving into the water or throwing her ice powers at the water to run on it. And, you can tell that it's going to have some dark to it. And when I say dark, I do not mean that there's anything, bloody or gory or anything like that. It's a Disney movie, people. But you can tell that there's going to be some kind of emotion and darkness, and it just kind of digs deeper. So you can tell that kind of from the trailer. But I was not prepared for how deep and how dark that it does get. So we'll just say that. I wasn't prepared. And I liked that they gave more backstory. I liked that, in the very beginning, we'll start there. We'll go there. So in the very beginning of the movie, you have Anna and Elsa as little girls, and their mom and dad are there, and they're telling them the story. Or King Agnar is telling the girls the story of, the North Aldra and the Northerners in Arendelle and the Enchanted Forest, and about spirits, the elemental spirits, earth, air, fire, and water. And you're hearing all of this and how it's so great and how it's so wonderful. And then all of a sudden something happens. And, the North Aldra and the Enchanted Forest is blocked off from everybody. And, you think it's to keep them safe. And it's great to kind of get a little bit more backstory of Arendelle and of their father. And it's good to see, because I don't know about any of you out there and about any of you parents out there listening to this movie and, watching this movie and having it based off the first movie. And in the first movie, you kind of think that's kind of, I know as a parent, I'm thinking that's kind of crappy, the way that, Elsa's parents are trying to protect her, but in the same way, they're trying to hide her. And that's crappy. Like, I was not very impressed with King Agnar and Queen Iduna in their parenting skills after what happens to Anna. I know they're trying to protect Elsa, but they're keeping sisters apart, and they're trying to hide who Elsa is, and that's not okay with me. So I like how in Frozen 2, in the beginning, you get a better feel of who these two are. I like that they give them a little bit more warmth. after King Agnar tells the story of the Northuldra and the Northern Enchanted Forest, Queen Iduna sings a lullaby to the girls, and it's so cute. It's adorable. If you don't know, the voice of Queen Iduna is Evan Rachel Wood. I think I said her name right. If I didn't, I am so sorry. And she does, I have to say, she does a phenomenal job. Phenomenal. I did say it right. Okay, I just looked it up. She does a phenomenal job as Queen Iduna. And later in the movie, she actually has a sort of duet, we'll say, with Idina Menzel, and who voices Elsa. And she just blows it out of the water. She's so good. So big thumbs up for casting her as Queen Iduna. I think she was great. And so she sings a lullaby to the girls, and then it comes into modern times, I guess we'll say, in the present. And, you know, going through all of this, and they're happy with the way that things are. And I love that, you know, at the end of Frozen, Elsa gives Olaf his own flurry so that way he doesn't melt. Well, I like that, you know, you see Olaf laying on a blanket and he looks like he's sunning himself, relaxing in the sunshine, and Anna comes up to him and says, "Oh, Olaf, how do you like your new permafrost?" How cute is that? Elsa gave him a permafrost so he would never melt. I think that's adorable. So I love that. And then all of a sudden, you know, Elsa's kind of distracted. And Elsa hears this voice calling to her. And she then, so it's later at night. She hears this voice, and, you know, she basically says to the voice, "I'm not listening to you. You know, I just got my life to where it is. I'm not going to listen to this voice, you know, calling to me from God knows where. You know, would I love to go into the unknown? Sure, but I'm not going to follow you into the unknown. I'm not going there again. I love the life that I have." And then all of a sudden, things kind of happen. She basically says, you know, she basically calls out the spirits, and the elemental spirits call back to her pretty much, and they come back at her, and things kind of start happening in Arendelle. You know, there's no fire, and there's all this stuff that's happening, and the trolls come and they tell Elsa that it's not safe in Arendelle anymore, that they have to go to the Enchanted Forest and they have to figure out what's going on. And Elsa tells Anna about the voice. And of course, Anna's upset because Elsa didn't tell her right away. But Elsa didn't want to worry her. And you see that a lot through this movie, that Elsa doesn't want to worry Anna. And she feels like she needs to take some things upon herself. So they go to the Enchanted Forest. They go to this mist that's blocking them. And they're like, well, you know, they try to go at it and it bounces them off. You know, Anna and Kristoff and Olaf, who does it numerous times. It's super funny. And bounces him right off. But then Elsa goes up to it and she goes to put her hand up. And the mist parts for them as they go through. So you know that Elsa is the key to breaking this spell that's on the Enchanted Forest. And they go through, and you meet some of the Arendelle soldiers that were left there from a long time ago that were trapped there. And you meet the northern people, the Northuldra, and you find out, you know, that the two of them don't get along, and you hear about things from them, and then the spirits, you know, have awoken, and Elsa tries to set things right. So in the process of doing this, they find out that Elsa has her her snow and ice powers. They find out that Elsa and Anna are the daughters of King Agnar, and the soldiers, they're sorry to hear about what happened to the king and everything. And through the whole story, we find out that the North Aldra, they wonder why the spirits would give such an amazing power to someone of Arendelle. Well, you find out, King Agnar, when he was little, when he was in the Enchanted Forest, he hit his head. He, hit his head in this fight that was going on between the people of Arendelle and the North Aldra, and someone saved him. Well, you find out that the person who saved him was Queen Iduna, and Queen Iduna is one of the North Aldra. So the spirits gave this power to Elsa because of what her mother did and because of who her mother is. So these two girls are a product of the North Aldra and Arendelle. So it's pretty amazing. And the whole fight between the North Aldra and Arendelle, which I didn't talk about, is all brought upon because of this bridge that Elsa and Anna's grandfather built between the people of Arendelle and the North Aldra. So we go through this whole thing. Elsa's got to figure out what's going on, where this voice is coming from. And then, so we're going to get into a dark part here. So Elsa figures out that she has to go to this mystical island called Atahallan. And she, Anna says, we're doing this together. You're not going to do this alone. I'm coming with you. Well, Elsa's got another plan. She sends Anna and Olaf away. And a big theme for Olaf through this movie is that he's getting older and he's feeling these things that he's never felt before. And after Elsa sends Anna and Olaf away, he realizes that he's angry. He's never been angry before. And he's angry at Elsa. And it's interesting to see because Olaf is so much like a toddler in that aspect, that he's going through these things that he's never felt before. So it's pretty cute, and it's pretty interesting to see how he's going through that. And so Elsa sends the two of them away, and she goes at the sea, and I don't want to say she conquers, but she kind of tames the water spirit, who is a horse, and she rides the water spirit to the island of Atahallan. And through there, she finds out what happens and why the North Aldra and the people of Arendelle are in this war, this fight. She finds out why, and it's all because of her grandfather, and it's because of this bridge, this dam that he built. And she knows that to break that, to settle the spirits, to make things right, the bridge / dam that they created, that her grandfather created, needs to come down. And she sings this amazing song called Show Yourself. And she's realizing that for all of her life, she has been waiting for someone to be like her, to find out why she is the way she is. And all she really had to do was dig deep. And through this song, she finds out that the voice she was hearing was her mother's, coming from Atahallan. And she's finding out that coming to this island and coming to the north, she's really finding out who she is. And it's wonderful how in the first Frozen, we have Let It Go, and she's finally letting go of the persona that she had put on, and she's finally letting go of her powers, and just being like, I just don't care. This is who I am. Everybody knows, so why am I holding on to it? I'm letting it go. And then in this one, she's really showing herself who she is and what she can do, and who she was meant to be. And we really see that in this movie, and we really see Elsa come into her own and evolve, and I love it. So she goes to the island, and then Elsa realizes that, she's trapped. She's got to get this message to Anna, and she's got to get this out there. And she kind of sends out this message, but in the process, in the end of Frozen, we see Anna get frozen. This time, Elsa gets frozen. And when Elsa gets frozen, it's almost like it's hard to say, but it's almost like she dies. And so it's almost like she dies. So she sends out this message to Anna, and it eventually does get to her, but in the process, Elsa freezes. And when she does that, it's like she dies. So when that happens, Olaf, who is with Anna, starts to flurry, and the flurry is coming from him. And Anna's realizing that Olaf is dying. And it's so sad. And it's something I was not ready for. It was pretty hard. So that's one of the deep moments, I'll say, that was pretty hard. I'll come back to it. So Anna has her own, solo song. She talks to General Matthias about doing the right thing earlier in the movie. So she has a song then about doing the next right thing. And she gets the message from Elsa about what happened, and she knows what she needs to do. So she goes back to where the dam is, and she awakens the earth giants, who are pretty scary. They're pretty big and scary. She awakens them, and with their help, she destroys the dam. And doing that, she does the right thing. And of course, it's sending water rushing towards Arendelle, but Elsa unfreezes. She jumps on the water spirit and, saves Arendelle from being flooded. It's amazing. So, saves the day. And in the end, Arendelle is saved. But they realize, King Agnar, his father, is trying to get this bridge between Arendelle and the Northuldra. And they're trying to form this bridge, and they think the dam is that purpose. Little do they know that the union between King Agnar and Queen Iduna, a Northuldra and an Arendelle, they form a bridge. Elsa and Anna are both ends of that bridge. Their bond, their sisterhood, their blood forms that bridge. They didn't need the dam for that. They form one when Elsa and Anna are born. And it's wonderful to find that out and to see that. And in the end, huge spoiler alert, Kristoff proposes. Kristoff goes through his own kind of turmoil throughout the whole movie. And in this movie, Kristoff really does show that he is the best Disney prince. And I had talked about, my top 5 Disney princes before, and I got to change that. I love Prince Eric. He's always going to be my number 1, but Kristoff definitely is number 2 now. He is amazing. He steps in, and he in no way tries to take over. He in no way tries to be like, step back, Anna, I got this. He's like, what do you need? She's like, I need help. I need this. Like, And he doesn't, try and take over for her. He's like, what do you need? How can I be there for you? And when Anna and Elsa and Olaf take off and kind of leave Kristoff behind, when she comes back, she says that she's sorry. And he says, don't worry. My love isn't fragile. And how amazing is that? I mean, come on. Go Kristoff. He's definitely the best Disney prince. Besides, in my eyes, besides Prince Eric, because I love him. But he's amazing. So through this movie, he goes through his own turmoil of wanting to propose to Anna. He gets his own song, which is phenomenal. And in the end of the movie, he proposes to Anna, and she says yes. Yay! So hopefully there'll be a Frozen 3 and they'll get married. It'll be amazing. And then, Elsa realizes about the bridge between the Northuldra and the people from Arendelle, and that being her and Anna. And she realizes where she needs to be, and that's not Queen of Arendelle. In the very end, you see Anna become Queen of Arendelle. Elsa steps down as Queen of Arendelle, and she knows that she needs to be in the north, in the Enchanted Forest, with the Northuldra being, I guess, kind of their queen. It's never really talked about that she's the queen. You find out that there is an element, I guess we'll say, that connects the four spirits. And you realize that element is Elsa. So she's kind of like the ruler of the north, the connection of the spirits. I don't want to say ruler of the spirits, but she kind of is. She's the one that connects them all. And it's amazing. I absolutely loved it. So the movie ends with Anna sending a message through the air spirit with this little, it looks like a paper bird, but we'll say paper airplane bird, to Elsa, talking about, a game night, on Friday or whatever, and can't wait to see you and stuff like that. It's really cute. So, and Elsa, goes riding off, goes for a ride with the water spirit as a horse, and it's super cool. I absolutely love this movie. So absolutely 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. I loved it. It's probably my favorite Disney movie that I have seen all year, and that's pretty big because I loved Toy Story 4 and I loved Forky. I bawled like a baby at the end of Toy Story 4, but I loved Frozen 2. So it's probably my favorite this year. With that being said, let's talk about some new characters. So what's a new movie without some new characters? So we have the 4 elemental spirits. So those are all kind of new. They weren't really like main, but the fire spirit, they created this little lizard. He's kind of like a fire lizard. And he is super cute. And while he's not like a main focus, there's so much products that they can make and probably have and will make based on his little character. I don't know that they gave him a name at all, but I'm pretty sure they gave him a name for his products and stuff like that. I loved him. And they obviously created all of the Northuldra. They're amazing. And the army from Arendelle, obviously there are new characters there. The biggest one being General Matthias, who is voiced by the amazing Sterling K. Brown. If you do not know who he is on the I'm going to use the word again. I've used it a lot this episode. The amazing TV show This Is Us. I love that show. I'm a huge fan of This Is Us and a huge fan of Sterling K. Brown, who plays Randall. He's just the best. I love him. I'm a huge Mandy Moore fan, so I love her. But Sterling K. Brown, who plays Randall, is probably my second favorite. So I love that he is now in the Disney world, Disney culture. One of the funniest moments and one of my favorite moments is when the Fab Five of Frozen, which is Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf, get to the Enchanted Forest, and they meet up with the Northuldra and the troops from Arendelle, and Olaf very quickly retells the story of Frozen. You find out what happens and all of that. And while Olaf is telling that, they have General Matthias giving his reactions to it, and it is the funniest thing. And it's so cute. I absolutely love it. And that's one of my favorite moments. So I love his character. He has some really great comedic moments, and he has some really great moments that you come to know Sterling K. Brown to have, especially as his character Randall from This Is Us. So I love the addition of him to this movie. I think he was phenomenal, and I think he was a great choice. So, favorite moments. Let's see. What are my favorite moments? We just talked about Olaf and General Matthias with the retelling of Frozen. I love I love when they play charades. They do that in kind of the beginning of the movie. I loved that. This movie has tons of music. Tons. Lots of songs. Each of, I guess we'll say, the talking Fab Five get their own song. Elsa gets 2. So, heyo, that's amazing. And I love that they each get their own song. I love that Jonathan Groff, who plays Kristoff, who does the voice of Kristoff, gets his own song. And I mean, he gets his own like little itty bitty song in Frozen, but I love that he gets his own full length boy band 90s style. You know, it could even be called a 90s rock song. I love it. I think it's so great. And I love that, you know, Kristoff shows, because you don't see it a lot from Disney princes, shows, you know, these big emotions that he's going through. Is he ready to be engaged to Anna? He loves her, and he's dealing with that. He's dealing with, you know, his inner turmoil of how much he loves Anna and he wants to marry her. Is he ready for that? And all of that. And it's good to show little boys who see this movie that, you know, men can go through that. And I love that. There aren't many things I dislike about this movie. And we'll get into my dislikes about this movie and the scary / deep parts of it all in one. So one of the things that Olaf talks about in this movie is that water has memory. And Elsa, using her snow and ice powers, freezes the water to bring out some memories. She does that when they first get to the Enchanted Forest and kind of seeing what happens. She does it more than once. And one of the times that she does it, and this is going to be in my dislike, they find in their quest to get to Ahtohallan, they find King Agnar and Queen Iduna, sorry about that, finds their ship. And from when they were sailing, and they thought they were going somewhere, that, you know, the king and queen were going somewhere else. Come to find out, they were actually going into the Dark Sea and trying to get to Ahtohallan to find out more about Elsa's powers and why she has them. And in this, you know, Elsa needs to know, and she thinks that's right. Water has memory. So she freezes the water that's caught in the ship, and it creates this ice sculpture of what happens to King Agnar and Queen Iduna. And you see the two of them, you know, embracing together, holding together, and water around them. So you know that they died, you know, because of the ship and because of the water and and all of that. And it's, what we all thought, but to see that moment, and to see the way that Elsa and Anna felt in that moment was a little bit much for me. What many of you, I don't think any of you really, unless you're a close friend or family, who are listening, what you don't know is I lost my father in June. So to sit there and watch this movie that I've been so excited to see, and to see that moment, and it's good to know that moment and to really deal with that. But to see that was very hard for me. So that is probably the one thing that I didn't like about the movie. It was very hard for me to see how their parents died after losing my dad. It literally took my breath away. Thank goodness Emily was sitting in my lap, pretty much wasn't looking at me, because I literally had my hand over my mouth and just shaking my head. Like, it was very hard for me to deal with. So that was probably the only thing I really didn't like about the movie. I still thought it was good to have that there. Elsa, it was very hard for Elsa to see. And so she deals with that emotion. And I think that's partially why she pushes Anna and Olaf away to go to Atahala by herself. So yeah, that is probably the deep moment that I really did not enjoy. Scary part in this movie, I think a lot of the darkness in it, which you do deal with a lot of the darkness. I think that, and the fighting and stuff like that might be much for little kids. The earth giants might be a little bit scary. I didn't think they were that scary, and I don't think Emily thought they were that scary. They were her least favorite part, I think, which you'll find out. But I don't think they were that scary. So what is with, all of these new characters, the elemental spirits, the North Aldra, the troops from Arendelle, General Matthias, who is my favorite character? With all these new characters, and of course the Fab Five, who is my favorite character? Well, my favorite character stays true to who my favorite character from Frozen has always been. Elsa. It's gotta be Elsa. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge fan of Idina Menzel. So when I heard that she was going to be a Disney princess, I literally geeked out. I could not deal with myself. I was so excited. And she is amazing. She's the perfect Elsa. I love it. Elsa's my favorite. I am going to do a future show about who my favorite princesses are. So just kind of a preview to that. My favorite princess is Ariel. She's been my favorite princess since I was a little kid, 6 years old or something like that. But Elsa is probably number 2. So I love Elsa. She's my favorite character from this movie. To see her even evolve more than she does from the first one is even better. To see her come into her own more, the connection between the spirits. You can even say she's a fifth element. She's a fifth. There's a movie called The Fifth Element. But to see that she's kind of like a fifth spirit is really cool. I love it. Like I had said, this movie is loaded with music. So how do you beat Let It Go? Really? You got to have so much music for the listeners of this. So Elsa, Anna, Olaf, and Kristoff all get their own songs in this. And if I had to pick a favorite, of course it would be Elsa. I just said she's my favorite, and I love Idina Menzel. And they give Elsa 2 songs. They give her Into the Unknown, which is amazing, and they give her Show Yourself. Now, these, if you look at them, through Apple Music or through any music app, you'll see that it says Idina Menzel and someone. I don't necessarily think that these are duets, really. Show Yourself is probably a little bit more than Into the Unknown. But I think they're primarily an Elsa song, so I'll say they're kind of her songs. But if I had to pick between Into the Unknown and Show Yourself, I would pick Show Yourself, hands down. I love that song. I could listen to it over and over and over again. I think it's amazing. And it's, it's her big song where she really transforms, So I would pick that song. It's my favorite song in the whole movie. So if you have not seen the movie, the soundtrack is out. Go listen to the songs. Listen to Show Yourself. Listen to all of them. But Show Yourself is my favorite. Is this movie okay for kids? Yes. I'll say that. There are some moments that are deep. You will have to answer questions. And there might be some points in the movie that might be a little bit scary. Emily did get up onto my lap in this movie. She did seem a little bit scared, and her friend did say that she was scared at one point. So I will say that. I think it's fine for kids. I think you will have to explain some things to them, especially if they don't know about death. When Olaf flurries and no longer becomes a snowman, you never really see him, completely unbecome a snowman. You see him flurrying, and then he's a pile of snow. But you never, it's not bad. Emily asked what was happening to Olaf, and I said, oh, Olaf is flurrying. She didn't say anything else about it. So I was lucky that, I got away with that. She didn't really ask many questions about it. But your kids may ask. So just be prepared for that. So yeah. But I think it's great for kids. I think that they will love it. And I definitely think, obviously go see it. So before I jump into what Emily thought about the movie, I am going to give, my Frozen versus 1 and 2. And I didn't ask Emily this. So I will have to find out later and let you guys know. So Frozen 1 versus Frozen 2, which one? And it's very hard. It's a very hard question. Because it's like, really? Who picks a sequel over the original? But, drumroll please, Frozen 1, Frozen versus Frozen 2. I don't know if you guys can hear me drum rolling on my table. I would pick Frozen 2. If I had to pick one, I would pick Frozen 2. I loved it. I thought it was so good. I would pick Frozen 2 over Frozen. So there you go. That's my opinion. So without further ado, I am going to, pass the mic, and we're going to talk to Emily and see what Emily thought of Frozen 2. So here we go. Okay. So what movie did we see recently?
Frozen 2.
We saw Frozen 2. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yes. Was it better than Frozen 1?
Yes.
You think so?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? What did you think about it?
It was really good.
It was really good. What else?
Olaf was really silly.
He was really silly.
Yeah.
Yeah? What else?
Anna became queen of Arendelle.
Was that one of your favorite parts?
Yeah.
Yeah? What else?
And they weren't sisters anymore.
No, they're still sisters.
Elsa had to live not with Anna, just with different people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part of the whole movie?
When Olaf at the very, very end.
Olaf at the very, very end was your favorite part?
Yeah.
When he was telling the story to Marshmallow and the Snow Geese?
Yeah.
Like way, way at the end?
Yeah.
That was your favorite part?
Yeah.
Of the whole movie, that was your favorite part?
Yes.
Okay.
What was your favorite part?
Oh, I had lots of favorite parts. But we're talking about you right now. So what was your least favorite part? What part did you like the least?
The most?
No, the least.
The least?
Yeah.
Like, no.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like when they showed when the king got hit in the face.
Oh, when the king got hit?
Yeah.
You didn't like that part?
No.
No, that wasn't a good part.
No.
No. All right. Were there any other parts that you didn't like?
I didn't like when the rock monsters.
Oh, the rock giant, the earth giants?
Yeah.
You didn't like them?
No.
No? Were they scary?
Yeah.
A little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah. So did you have a favorite character in this movie? In Frozen 2?
Elsa.
Elsa was your favorite? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is Elsa your favorite from the first one too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it stayed the same?
Yeah.
Elsa for 1 and 2?
Yes.
Awesome.
And Anna.
So Elsa got to sing 2 songs in this movie.
Ita.
So she sang Into the Unknown
Yeah.
and Show Yourself. Which one was your favorite?
The second one.
Show Yourself?
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was Mommy's favorite too. Did you like Into the Unknown?
Yeah, I like both.
You like both, but if you had to pick one, which one would you pick?
The second one.
Show Yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. So anything else you want to talk about Frozen 2?
Candy canes?
Candy canes. Were there any candy canes in this movie?
No.
No? Okay.
We
Well,
have
then-
candy canes here.
Oh, so we're recording right now from my dining room table, and we have a box of candy canes on our table. So that's why Em's talking about candy canes. Anything else about Frozen 2?
Olaf was very silly.
Olaf was really silly. He was really silly. He's always really silly, though. Okay. Well, that's it?
Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, that's it. All right. Thanks for being on the podcast, Em.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Emily's input on Frozen 2. Needless to say, she liked it. So it looks like, listening to what she had to say about Frozen, I did ask her whether she liked Frozen or Frozen 2 better, and she and I are both in agreement that we like Frozen 2 better. She and I both liked Show Yourself the best out of Elsa's 2 songs. Both of our favorite characters are Elsa. I thought her least favorite part, I think I had predicted, would be the Earth Giants, or I had mentioned that that might be a scary part for kids, but it looks like that was one of her dislikes, was the Earth Giants. So, like I said, I don't personally think they're scary, but kids might. They're big, and they're supposed to be kind of like the bad guys a bit. So I can see how she would think that they're a little bit scary. So yeah, her favorite parts, like she said, Olaf being super silly. And I didn't mention that at the very end of the movie, Olaf is retelling the story of Frozen 2 to Marshmallow and the Snowgees. And it's really silly. It's just the way, Olaf tells the story of Frozen to General Matthias and the troops, as well as the North Aldra. He's telling them the whole story of Frozen. And the way that he tells it to them, he's telling the story of Frozen 2 to Marshmallow and the Snowgees. So it's super funny and really cute. I love that they did that. Disney's got this new habit of doing a little clip at the very end of the movie, usually after some of the credits start to roll. So it's really cute. You know that you're not completely done with the movie if you're in the theater watching and the lights don't come up. So it's always a key to know that there's something else going on. So those are her favorite parts. That's what she thought of Frozen. I love watching, these movies with her, and I love being able to get her point of view for the podcast. So if it's, especially a new Disney animated movie, if I'm going to be out seeing it, definitely expect that she and I are going to talk about it on the podcast. So there you go. So that's it for today, folks. That's it for the podcast, this episode, our review of the highly anticipated Frozen 2. And what else? So where you can listen to us besides where you're listening now, obviously. You can listen to us on my blog, The Many Sides of Mom. It's manysidesofmom.com. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Stitcher. Pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us. So wherever you can listen, you can find us there. And follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. On Instagram and Facebook, it's the same. It is Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast, all one word. It is long. So Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast. On Twitter, it is DLHW Podcast. So follow me there. Send me a DM. Send me an email. If you have any comments about today's episode, you have any questions, if you want to recommend a topic or anything like that, you can feel free to email me. It is the new email, like I said, is dlhwpodcast@gmail.com. So feel free to send me an email. I will gladly respond. And if you've got a review, any place that you can listen, really, you can give me a review. Give me a review, and I will gladly read it on the next episode. Okay? So that is it for me and for the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast for this week, folks. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. Hopefully it's not too stressful with the upcoming holidays. And I hope this brings you a little bit of joy. I am so thankful that I can bring this podcast to you guys every single week. I know we've taken a couple of weeks off, but I am so happy that I get to do this and that I get to share my love of Disney with you guys. So thank you for listening, and thank you for taking this time out of your day to listen. All right, I will talk to you guys same day next week. We'll be back next Wednesday.